As we talked about what's going on in the world of sports, here's Ryan in South Carolina. First up today, we got a lot of calls on the NBA just to get a tease, and then we'll get to some other things as the day moves along. Ryan, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? Okay?
Good, dog. Thanks for taking the call. I got one quick baseball question for you. How are they going to make up all these? I think it's 22 games they've missed. How are they going to make all that up? Do you know?
Well, they're going to play a lot of day-night doubleheaders, so I'll get to that a little later on, Ryan. I got some thoughts on the schedule and these rainouts and the bad weather and how it's going to affect teams and all those kinds of things. I'll do that as the day moves along. I promise. Go ahead. Point two.
I'll tune in to make sure I listen. So I'm not a LeBron James apologist. In fact, I'm a Laker fan. I'm the Kobe argument maker, but I was at a bar yesterday watching the early games. I got to tell you, dog, I was pleasantly surprised with how into it people in the bar were. I mean, it's obviously they wanted to root against LeBron, which is I'm cool with that. That was fun. But, I guess I disagree with the early takes that you guys had last week on it. People were really into these games.
I'm surprised. They were, you know what? They had good ratings on Saturday night. They were up a small percentage from a year ago. I think bad weather's got a little something to do with it, although Saturday night the weather was okay in certain parts of the country. But I do think there's a little juice in the NBA. I think Cleveland losing now a first game will add a little juice. And you were sitting in a bar yesterday at 3 o'clock, Ryan, in South Carolina, and people were into that NBA game?
Yeah, I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, which I'd like you to come visit, by the way. You're always yapping about Charleston. Saturday we had 80 and sunny, right? Yesterday it's 40 and pouring, so everyone just packed into the bars. And we ended up watching the games there. But the other point I wanted to make to you real quick was I listened to the PJ interview Friday. I honestly, dog, I got no problem with Toronto or a Boston or even Indiana making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. It wouldn't bother me one bit. I think it's time for change. The one other thing that was pretty interesting, nobody seemed to be upset with Golden State getting back there. All the people that we talked to, it just seemed like the general consensus in the bar was, we're tired of the whole LeBron act. Anyway, thanks for taking my call, dog.
That's a good call, Ryan. Well done on your part. That's a good start to the show as far as LeBron is concerned. I sensed that people were on top of the NBA this weekend. Again, Saturday the weather was decent, so I'm not too sure how many people were on top of that first game, although the rating was decent first game. But I don't know if you're a sports fan and you lived in America yesterday outside of living in San Diego or Galveston, Texas or Key West. I don't know what you could have watched. I mean, I can't watch baseball when they're huddled up in parkas and it's 35 degrees. I mean, unless you're watching Penguins and Flyers, which I don't think that many of you doing that. I don't know what you're watching outside of Cleveland and Indiana. So especially with the Pacers winning that game against LeBron in the second half. So I would think they did pretty competitively with the ratings on Sunday. They did pretty well on Saturday. Here's Carlisle, Virginia, Mad Dog Unleashed. Carlisle, welcome. How are you today?
Chris, how you doing, bud?
Hello, Carlisle. Nice to talk to you. What's on your mind now? Let me hear.
All right, couple of things. First of all, you know over the years where I stand on LeBron, I'm just not I'm not as big a fan of him as some people. A couple weeks ago, chance to tie the game against Philly, and I said it that night. That was a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And he missed 1 or 2, and I said,
and 1 of 3. He got fouled. We talked about this the other week.
You said it that Monday. You said Jordan would not, and I said it that night sitting there. I said, this is why he's not Michael Jordan. And so let me though get off of that and get on to this particular game. Listen, I would be concerned. First of all, I think that Pacers, I hadn't seen much of them this year. I was impressed with Oladipo. Miles Turner's a decent player. McMillan's a decent coach. But I think that a lot of people are missing. Jeff Van Gundy brought it up. Kyrie Irving, if he stays healthy, is a Hall of Fame sidekick. And you do not – listen, you have George Hill this year. That's a big difference. You cannot talk about coming back from down 3-1 when you had Kyrie Irving hitting big shots down the stretch in Game 7, and then you're depending on George Hill. I think a lot of people, including LeBron, are overlooking that, and it's a big factor.
Well, fair. Good call, Carlisle. I think the losing Irving is going to hurt them. I'm surprised they might find themselves in trouble in this first round, although I tried to get a play-in on Indiana yesterday for the series, and I could not do it because they're plus 500. And a lot of places, unless you're in Vegas, won't let you make a play on that. So I did not. So I thought this could be dangerous for the Cavaliers. But overall, for them to win a championship It's very difficult to think they can do that without Irving there as his sort of Robin to his Batman. Very, very difficult. And the other thing you got to wonder about with the NBA, LeBron under the gun early is good as long as he wins. If LeBron, it's like Kentucky. You want them to sweat out a 116 game early, but you don't want Kentucky to lose the game. You wanted Virginia to have to work hard against UMBC, but you wanted Virginia to win a game. You want the Cavs play Game 7. They'll take a chance, but win the game. And if they lose LeBron in the East, that would be a major problem because then you have Toronto, Indiana, and, the Celtics and probably Philly, which is a good series, although Boston's depleted. But you lose your big star first round. That's going to hurt your postseason the rest of the way, and it's especially going to hurt the final because nobody's going to think that they can beat Warriors or Houston or even be competitive if LeBron is not there. Randy in South Carolina, he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Randy, good afternoon. It's your turn. How are you today?
Hey, how you doing? I appreciate the caller earlier giving Charleston some love. We love it down here. It was 75, 80 degrees yesterday. I was drinking a little vodka soda, hanging out down on the dock, just kind of chilling out. So you know what it's all about down here in Charleston, right?
I would go to Charleston in a minute if I got a chance to live there. No question about it. Go ahead.
Well, let me ask you. I get all these questions. You get all this back and forth about Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Okay, let's put. It's not even close, the comparison. I mean, would Scottie Pippen be in the Hall of Fame if he was playing alongside LeBron James?
He probably would be, but I know your point. I mean, Jordan made Pippen a lot more as distinguishable. See, what Jordan did to Pippen could do all the dirty work, and Jordan, and good call, Rand, and Jordan would make the big shots. See, the thing about Pippen that he could not do, he was not a closer. He could not put the team on his back offensively in the fourth quarter. That's the one thing. He'd guard the best player on the other team. He'd shoot threes. He'd be an all-around, long, lanky, do a bit of everything. He'd do all that scenario for you. But the problem that he had on an everyday basis is that he could not score in big spots with seasons on the line. And, LeBron can do that, and Jordan, nobody could do that better than him. Reginald in Delaware, he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Reginald, good afternoon. How are you today, pal? What's going on?
Hey, dog. Thanks for taking my call, man.
You got it, Reg. What's on with you? What's on with you now? Let me hear. Fire away.
I was watching that Cavalier game, and I'm not a LeBron James fan. I was kind of, back and forth with him when he first came to Miami and all that good stuff. But my point is, though, no one's taking into account that this Oladipo kid is for real, dog. I used to be a Magic fan, and it seems like they let all these good players get away. Orlando does, but this kid wants to show people that he's legit. And if Ty Lue them don't figure something out, dog, the Pacers gonna have them in a rough spot, dog.
It's a good point.
That's my point.
Yeah, and it's a good one. Oladipo is a very good call, Reg. Oladipo is a very good player. I didn't think he was this good last year. He had his moments against OKC, but or for OKC in the series against Houston, but it was sort of Westbrook's team, and obviously a situation where now it's his team. He can do what he wants. He's got a good running mate in Collison. Thaddeus Young can score. Turner's a pretty good player. Cody Joseph's won championships. Sabonis. I mean, the team's got some talent. That team's not terrible. Now, I don't know if they're going to beat the Cavs, but they've given him something to think about right out of the gate. Michael in Indiana, and he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. Mike, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Fine, Mike. Thank you. What's up? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I see a lot of the 07 Cavaliers with this team. What do you think about that? LeBron's going to have to carry them like he did in the 07.
That 07 team obviously got murdered by the Spurs in the final. That's the team you're referring to?
Yeah. Yes.
But they got to the final, and LeBron played great. There is some similarities. I mean, Love is better than any player that they had on the 07 team. and he's on this team. So, I mean, Love is a factor, can be a factor. But, he doesn't have another great player next to him. That's bottom line. It's LeBron and the miracles. I mean, he does a lot of players who are pretty good, and that includes Love, but he does not really have a standout all-star next to him, and that's a problem. So, and that's the same thing, Mike, with the 07 team. So you're right about that. Go ahead. Go ahead, I'm listening.
All right, but yeah, what's his name? Kevin Love's going to have to average at least 25 and 10 just for them to advance farther along in the series, don't you think?
Well, he's going to have to do better than 9 and 17. Good call. He only had 9 points yesterday, and he's going to have to do better with that. Love has been a disappointment. He's not a great player. But you're right. Jeff Green, Love, George Hill, Rodney Hood, Larry Nance Jr., Clarkson, they're not great players. That's a problem. T is in Jersey, and he's with us here on Mad Dog Unleashed. T, good afternoon. How are you today? What do you have?
What's going on, pal? What's going on?
Hello there, T. Nice to have you aboard. What's on your mind today?
Yo, listen, we're out here. We're trusting the process, all right? We have a stone-cold killer who's 6'10", 230 pounds coming downhill at you. You can't stop him. And we were trying to tell people in the national area and even locally, Miami, yeah, that's a tough draw, but guess what? This isn't old D Wade. This is a new, older D Wade. Okay, the Sixers are giving Miami a matchup problem, and we're going to see that again tonight. Now, let me ask you a question. 6 years ago, no one had a problem with Blake Griffin winning Rookie of the Year after he missed his first year. So now all of a sudden, Ben Simmons is putting his fingerprints across the whole game, and everyone has a problem because he's technically not a true rookie. Well, we didn't make that rule up. The NBA made that rule up. And if Adam Silver comes out and says they're not changing the rule's the rule, then what's the big bark about?
Well, it's not a big deal to me who wins the Rookie of the Year. If you want to give it to Simmons, I'm okay with it. Obviously, last year he didn't play his rookie year, so I didn't even know there was any juice about this, about why he wins the Rookie of the Year. I'll say one thing about Philly, and good call. They need a bead. They got a bunch of role players on Philly. He's very, very good, but everybody else, Isanova, Bellini, even Covington, J.J. Redick, they're all a bunch of role players, and there's only so far they can go without Embiid. Embiid's a great player. They need him on that team. They cannot get to a final without him healthy. That team is, Simmons does a bit of everything. He's 6'8". He's 6'10", whatever he is. He's got a lot of ability. He's fun to watch. But they got 8 guys next to him who are role players. There's a limit to what you can do. Miami's not that good. There's a limit to what you can do. They need a beat. Now, if they get him back, they got a chance. So we'll see. Update, Jeremy Huber. He's got a sports bite. We'll come right back to you. Mad Dog.